98FM. The sound of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Weekdays from 10 a.m.
With Adrian Kennedy.
Now, our local story now involves a housing estate on Dublin's north side that is basically being used as a dumping ground for all sorts of rubbish. Now, we have photographs on our Facebook page right now at facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. And these photographs were taken over the weekend in Darndale. Now, what the photographs show is just disgusting. Now, I mean disgusting. Litter strewn all over the place, black bags, babies, car seats. Oh, it's just disgusting. It really is. And here's what a lady called Tracy, who brought this to our attention, posted on social media over the weekend. I just took a walk to the shops in Darndale with my dad and was so disgusted that I took these pictures. My parents and their neighbours all work and have worked their whole lives, paying taxes, property taxes and so on. And this is what surrounds them. This is the squalor they have to live in the middle of. When asked to please clean up, the local area assistant manager for the council asks residents complaining if they want a brush and a shovel to clean it themselves. My father is 72. Dirty nappies, broken glass, empty beer bottles and cans, and fire pits all within 50 yards of my parents' house. And the smell, the stench, shameful way to expect people to live, is what that message on social media said. Now, if you're from the Darndale area, we want to hear from you on 6797981. Text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. We're asking who is to blame for this situation with just disgusting rubbish and litter everywhere. And is it the responsibility of the council to clean up the mess? Or is it the residents that caused the bloody mess in the first place and that they should clean it up? Call me right now on 6797981. Tracy, you're on 98FM. Hiya, Tracy.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Now, Tracy, thanks for sending us those photographs, because you need to see these photographs to realise how bad the litter is in Darndale. This was over the weekend, and it really got to you.
Well, this is over the weekend, but it happens all the time. I suppose because I was walking around with my dad and just the heat and everything, I was really taken in how vile it was. So, like, I have a daughter. I can't even let her outside my mum's front garden because of what's outside it. And I'm not saying it's solely down to Dublin County Council. Absolutely not. There are people that are illegally dumping, but that issue needs to be addressed. And if it's not going to be addressed, somebody has to clean it. But as I said, my mum and dad are pensioners. They paid their taxes. That's what the taxes are for, pays for the county council to do these jobs. And those pictures don't even depict really everything that's there. Like, Adrian, there must be like used condoms, syringes. It is absolutely disgusting. And, I can say, my parents have got out and, they clean outside the few papers that's outside the front of their garden, and a neighbour has gone out and done a good clean. And my dad walked up to the county council offices and said, listen, we've 4 black bags down there. The neighbour has cleaned up. Can you just arrange for collection? And they said, no, that's not our job. So I don't know.
So Dublin City Council have said it is not their job?
Said it's not their job, and they have offered shovels and brushes to people going up complaining, to the point that it's a sad state of affairs when it's only highlighted because I put it onto social media. It shouldn't take somebody putting stuff onto social media for Dublin County Council or Gardaí or whoever it is that it is to step in. But the fact is, people aren't
the
people are coming from outside Darndale into Darndale to dump their rubbish. There are plenty of very good, decent, hard-working people in Darndale, and I come from a family of them. So I know that, and I know my neighbours, my mum and dad's neighbours, who are very good to my mum and dad, and they all stick together and they work, but this is how they live. And it's either they go out and clean that up, or it's not being cleaned. Now, Denise Mitchell who's a Sinn Féin TD, did get in touch with me yesterday, and she agreed it is absolutely disgusting and it's not good enough, and she'd have a meeting today and get it cleaned, and I wholeheartedly believe that she will, because, Denise does tend to follow on what she's saying. However, that's going to be like that again in a week or two. And a week or two after that again.
So you're saying that people are coming into Darndale and dumping their rubbish?
Yeah, and they're not just dumping bags of rubbish, they're dumping fridge freezers and sofas and old mattresses, and which are constantly then being set on fire by, teens and they're around drinking all night. They're smashing their place.
Oh, sorry,
Tracy. There's a serious problem there. And when asked about the CCTV, because there is some CCTV around the area, my dad has been told, and my mum, no, it's not considered antisocial behaviour. So, where do you go with that, Adrian? Where do they go as, hard-working people that are now at, their later years? This is not stuff they should be worrying about at all. And either should their neighbours be. Even my mum and I drove around the outer parts outside Darndale, around Bunratty and that yesterday. Even the weeding and all around the pathways, it's all removed, it's all clean. Darndale is a kip and it's just forgotten about. It's like when I grew up there, it was never as bad as it is now, but it's like the amount of people that say to me, God, I didn't realise it was still that bad. It's way worse than it ever was, and it's like it's just the people inside of it are just being left to rot. That's how it feels, because they're just constantly fighting a losing battle, So,
Tracy, how much of the rubbish do you think is being brought in from outside and just dumped into Darndale?
Adrian, honestly, it would be hard to say, especially because I am not actually living there anymore. I just go over, twice or three times a week to visit my parents, but it's constantly there. I just wanted to clarify there, I amn't saying that Dublin City Council are fully responsible for that. There needs to be some type of strategy developed to deal with people who are illegally dumping. So it's happening, it's on CCTV, but everybody's ignoring the actual issue, and then everybody is denying responsibility for cleaning it up. So I do think there is a responsibility on Dublin City Council to keep, the area clean, as there is on residents, but also, people who are illegally dumping, they need to be prosecuted, and people not paying bin charges need to be paying them. And so, it's a bigger, broader picture than, Dublin City Council should be getting in here and cleaning up after all these. It's not just that. This is a massive issue. If Dublin City Council clean that all today, which I hope they do, it's going to be there in a week. The fact is that, as I said, Darndale is just being left in squalor, and that is squalor. And some people, they're mainly positive, I have to say, bar probably two people on the whole post, agrees, like, this is disgraceful, people shouldn't have to live, that way. One or two that say, get out and challenge them, it's everybody's responsibility to challenge. My parents are not in a position to go out and challenge a gang of teenage boys that
no, of course, and nor should they be expected to.
And the other side is, look at it, as much as it probably annoys my parents when I say it, and I have good understanding of a lot of those people, I understand why the Gardaí aren't going to drive into the middle of Darndale and all get out with their cars to be hit with rocks and stuff. So I understand that as well. But there has to be something put in place. And I know it's not just Darndale. This problem is across the city, but it is mainly in disadvantaged areas. And as I pointed out in my post, people in Malahide pay their taxes, people in Darndale pay their taxes, and those two areas look completely different. And whether you're paying taxes or you're paying, a mortgage or rent, in my mum's case, it's a mortgage they paid, you're paying local property taxes, and, if you're working, you've paid taxes. And I just feel like, because Darndale is an area where there's a lot of people, obviously, that aren't in work, it looks like, we'll just leave them. But forget about all the people that have worked and have paid their taxes and are trying to live a good life and do things right. My parents raised you know, me, my brother and sister very well, and we would certainly never litter or dump like that.
No, I have to say it's one of my pet hates, and I see it regularly. I live in North County Dublin, in a kind of a rural area, and every day I see bags of rubbish left just strewn at the side of the road. Stay there for 1 second, Tracy. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. Now, Dermot, you work for Fingal Council, and you see this every day.
The amount of illegal dumping that's going on now is it's just gone beyond the joke. If you had a little say, you know, your litter bins on the side of the road now is getting packed out now with domestic rubbish. Like, we've a van load here now this morning. They started at 7:30, and I'm loaded with illegal dumping waste that's been illegally dumped. But in relation to the problem in Darndale, it is ultimately down to Dublin City Council to clean that, because it's now a public health issue. The rubbish will be attracting vermin, so they have to clean. Ultimately, they have to clean it up. You can't fob it off and say, "Here's a brush and shovel." But get onto their environmental section now, and we'd report it straight off.
Okay, so there are local politicians listening to us right now, and they're aware that this conversation is on, and they need to do something fairly urgently.
There's 101 different things now. I know different councils run the businesses differently, you know. But when it comes to environmental, like, we've had serious problems in one area in Dublin 15, and we got a security company out in the dead of night, and they erected just little micro CCTV cameras in one spot.
And were they useful or helpful?
There was prosecutions from it. Yeah.
Okay,
you know,
so
they invested money in taking the measures, but ultimately then on the clean up they saved. You know, so. You know, it's all up to how the environmental section in Dublin City Council actually, you know, go about their business. But this effort of going up to a depot and the supervisor, shift supervisor saying, "Hey, do you want a brush and shovel?" I wouldn't. Now, myself, that wouldn't happen out here in Dublin 15. That wouldn't happen.
Okay, so they need the Dublin City Council needs to take action, but particularly for the health and safety aspect of having all this rubbish strewn all over the place.
It's a public health. It's facing onto a residential area. There's vermin there. There'll be seagulls tearing it apart. There'll be rats in and out. So ultimately, regardless of whether it's NAMA land or private land or whatever, if there's nobody taking ownership for it, Dublin City Council have a responsibility to clean it. Whether the man up in the local depot says they do or they don't, they do.
Okay, stay there for 1 second and let me go to Frank. You're on 98 FM. Frank, how are you?
Oh, it's a major pet hate of mine now, the littering and dumping. But I just feel, Adrian, what we're doing here at the moment is we're blaming the council now. It's like we're blaming Irish Water for the water shortage. We're blaming everyone. Now, that chap there is right in what he's saying about it being a health and safety and an environmental hazard. And Tracy, I can understand where she's coming from. However, I personally don't believe, Adrian, that there's people driving into our area or parents' area and dumping. It's people that's living there. I see it in my area up in Finglas there. I go walking a lot. Everywhere I walk, Adrian, like you said, you're driving around, all I see is bags dumped. Another one, you're walking, I walk the dog, I pick up the dog crap, put it in a bag. I'm seeing more plastic bags, Adrian. Some gobshite is taking the time to bend down, pick it up, tiring it off, and drops her on the pavement. You're dealing with people that just don't care. And I have to say now, I'm on the side of the council on this one. We've seen her over the years, Adrian. When they do go in and clean up, it's seen then as a drop-off point. And people then will go, I'll dump it there because the council...
Because they'll come along and pick it up again, yeah.
Now, the people need to get on, try and find out who's doing it in the area, rather than approach them. The dead of night themselves, Adrian, dump her in their garden. Dump it in these people's garden. It's the only way. We had it in our own place for years. That's how we dealt with it. You're dealing, Adrian, with, and I have to say, if you're one of these people listening to this radio show this morning that's involved in this, you're nothing but scum. Your kids are scum. They're going to be the same and scum raging. Now, that girl Tracy said about paying tax, the difference in Malahide and Darndale. There is no difference, Adrian. The difference is the people in Malahide are raiding their kids not to litter. That's the difference. It's nothing to do. These scumbags, Adrian, won't pay their bins. They're going around, I even know people, Adrian, that walk the streets, they're putting rubbish in other people's black bin on a weekly basis. They're nothing but scum. And if the council find out who they are, get on to them. If they're on social welfare, stop the money out of social welfare payments. I don't care if they've 100 kids to feed. That's what's wrong with the kip.
Okay, so as you've heard, the council do have to do something about this because it is now becoming a health and safety issue where the litter will attract vermin. The place could be infested with rats.
Adrian, I'll tell you what the vermin is. It's the scumbags doing it. And that's what's wrong with people. People are afraid to say boo to people because they want to be PC correct. Ask that chap from the council why there's been a dramatic cut in local bins, public bins on the side of the street. I'll tell you why. Because these scumbags are coming along and dumping the household rubbish in them. That's the problem. And I'm sick of this. It's like Irish Water last week. Irish Water's at it again. There's a fucking shortage of water. And now we're at the council blaming them for scumbags littering the place. Now, come on. People need to wake up here now and cop on. Enough's enough. You see it every day of the week. You see little scumbags out there, 4 and 5 years of age. Their parents, they're dropping rubbish and their parents are stepping over it.
And like I said, it is one of my pet hates. It's a topic I really get annoyed about, that people can actually fling a bag of rubbish out their car window. It does my head in. And I agree with you. You're filthy, rotten scum if you do that. You really are.
That's all they are. Adrian, I walked the other day and I was walking past the bus stop. And on the pavement was 2 used nappies, folded up nicely, but sitting there. At first I said that was some skank. Then I said no. She would have just flung it there and wouldn't have cared. I said that was someone that took the time and effort and just folded it up and said, I'll actually leave it there now for someone else to pick up. This is what's wrong with people, and people need to call. When they see someone doing it, call them scum, because that's all they are. They're vermin.
Yeah, I don't think they'll even be bothered by being called that, to be quite honest with you.
No, but you see, this is what's wrong, and you can see them all, and it's nothing to do with Darndale. It's happening all over working class Dublin, because people they don't care. They're getting everything easy. They probably have a free house by the council. They don't care. They're going, well, why? I don't own the house. Why should I pay to get the bins collected?
Okay, stay there for 1 second and let me bring in some more calls on this. 6797 981 is our telephone number. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. And if you're from the Darndale area, we'd like to hear from you as well. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Eamon, you're on 98FM. How are you, Eamon?
Not too bad at all. It's just repeating the exact same thing that man said. It's the people in the area. They're just lazy, good for nothing. They just said, feck, they're out on the road. There's no one going in there dumping bloody stuff. It's the people there dumping their own stuff, throwing bins out. They're not paying their bins. They're throwing their furniture out and all. Like, you can see it all around, all over, like Darndale and all like that.
And well, Tracy, let me just come back to you for a second. Have you seen people coming from outside dumping rubbish into Darndale?
Adrian, I to be honest, I'm actually irritated listening to those men speaking like that, because I have witnessed it and I have absolutely...
well, why don't you ring somebody and tell them?
I have absolutely no reason to lie. I do not live in Darndale now.
And you sit in your arse and you say nothing.
Come here and I tell you something.
No, you sit in your arse and say nothing.
Full-time shift.
I don't care what you work. You said you witnessed it.
Hang on, let her speak.
I have to take into consideration that my mum and dad are pensioners living in a house that is very easily targeted by certain people.
That's fair enough.
Into that area and are from that area. No, that's not just fair enough. That's completely wipes out you telling us that we should be going out challenging these people.
Well,
now,
listen, look. You said you've seen them. Did you say you've seen them?
I have absolutely seen them.
Oh, you have. So what did you do about it?
What do you want me to do?
What did you do about it? You mean you walked over and you said, "Oh, go ahead, lads." You didn't take any numbers of cars. You didn't take a number of like every fan has a reg plate.
This issue is going on
bull.
for years. There is
it's always me. It's always there, Tala people. Always there. Oh, we don't have enough. Tala. No, but your parents are, aren't they? Or from Darndale,
no,
sorry.
They're Darndale. Nobody has said we don't have enough. My mum and dad look after their property the way they should look after. They pay their bin charges. They pay their local property tax. They have paid their mortgage. They own their house. They aren't looking for anything free. I want to make that clear. They've worked all of their lives, okay? But it is not their responsibility to go and challenge degenerates that are treating the area like it's a public rubbish dump, because that's what's happening. Now, whether you want to accept they come in and out of Darndale to do it or not is another thing. I am telling you, as somebody that grew up there and who lives there...
I see it. And how did he bring the stuff in?
Sorry, in vans. And the
other thing is... Oh my God, vans have no reg plates. And the cars had no reg plates. Are you for real, love?
No,
you just stood there and see them and you didn't take down the reg plate. Here, I tell you, you're wasting me time here.
Well, hang on. It's hardly the job, Eamon, of residents.
Look, she's on the radio giving out about the state of the place.
Yeah.
She's not doing anything about it. She sees the cars and the fans come in, and she doesn't bother at all taking down the reg plate. Are you for real?
Okay, stay there for a second. Let me go to Robbie. You're on 98FM. How are you, Robbie?
Hey, Adrian. How you doing? Not too bad.
Robbie, you're a former resident of Darndale.
I'm a former resident of Darndale, currently living in Dunleary, and what I just wanted to say was to your man there that's on his high horse there, calling all the people in Darndale scum and Tala, degenerates and scum and stuff. I'd like to know, I've flight hit myself a few times, right, when I had to, you know what I mean, no choice. But I'd just like to know, would he actually drive into Darndale estate and stand out and call these people scum? That's what I'd like to know. Would he actually have the balls to go in and do that? Would he? I
wouldn't go near bleeding Darndale. You're for real? Me bleeding fan and me car be robbed.
Hang on, you just said a minute ago you should walk up and call them scum.
Oh, sorry, I do apologise. I meant to say to get their reg plates off their fans.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you see, you changed your tune now. Do you know why? Because someone that are recognising you now.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. 6797 981 is our telephone number. Let me just bring in one or two last calls on this. Sorry, Robbie. What about this claim that it is the residents that are doing all the dumping, and it's not true to say that it's coming in from outside?
Well, Adrian, look, there could be one or two people that are let's say, less cautious with their waste than they should be. Like, but I just think him coming on the radio and saying, "Oh, they're all scum and they're this and they're that," just to brand the complete 100, like the whole area as scum, and then you see them doing it, go up and call them scum.
No, nobody said the whole area was.
No, well look, he's saying Darndale, Adrian. Darndale's a big place. I'm sure you know it.
Yes.
And he's on about Tala as well. Like, you know what I mean? And Tala's a very big place. So, and I'm sure you obviously know how big Tala is. So he's saying if you see someone walk up and call them, you can wind back your radio. You can hear him saying it. But do you know what I mean? He'd be the first one to run and cower and hide. He doesn't listen. He doesn't practice what he preaches at all. He's not listening to his own words.
But how is it, Robbie, that an estate like Darndale is strewn with litter, and if you drive 4 miles up the road to Malahide, you won't see that?
Adrian, I don't know, Adrian. Look, it's proper education about it, Adrian. People should be...
Sorry, everybody knows you shouldn't fling bags of black bags of rubbish and just leave them there.
Well, Adrian, I totally understand. I take on board what you're saying, but I don't think the answer. I don't have the perfect answer for it, but I don't think the answer is walking up and calling them scum and taking their resin and fucking dumping it in their garden.
Mind the language, Robbie, please.
Sorry, Adrian.
All right. I understand you're angry over it, but Darren, last call on this. What did you want to say, Darren?
Hey, Dan, I just think that Tracy is living in a dream world. I drive through there on the way to work now, and the place is filthy. I see people dropping their rubbish that live there, throwing the rubbish all over the place. Most of the people in the area don't work.
I don't know if you can say most of the people in the area don't work. Certainly some don't.
No, most of them don't. They don't pay their TV licence, bins, and that's why they're throwing it out in front. It comes from the parents. If the parents get out of the pub and get off their ass and taught their children not to do things like that, the reason why they have sofas on the fields and that is they're sitting there, man, they're dealing in drugs. It's a well-known fact.
Okay, the fact of the matter is, though, that the council hasn't cleaned up the filth that Tracy took photographs of over the weekend. And it is their responsibility to get out and do it. It's not down to the residents to have to clean up.
No, but they have to tell the people to stop it. It's their own that's doing it, because as the other guy said, like, the council, then they'll see it's a drop in zone, and they just leave it there all the time, so it should be picked up by the council. You can see them, the kids, I remember, like, going through, and one of the guys I work with even said it, like, their dad used to say to him, she'll throw your litter on the ground, she'll keep them in the job in the council. Did you ever hear that yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not messing up, but that's what they say. Actually, that's it. Otherwise, it would be less job for a councilman to do.
No, I know, and I hate that attitude as well. Let me just leave the final word on this to you, Tracy. You've raised it. You've been talking to local politicians who say it is going to be cleaned up. Are you optimistic that it will be?
I'm absolutely optimistic it will be in the next couple of days, but am I optimistic that it will continue to be cleaned up? No. I fully can take on board people's points. There are people in Darndale that are responsible for this, but the fact is there are people that aren't responsible and are having to live in the middle of it. And there's a whole other show can be done on, the social aspects of Darndale, but attitudes like that man's, that's how they live. They don't pay their TV license. That's the problem with this country. That is the problem, because there is loads of social issues that need to be addressed, and they're not being. And these are the issues it leads to, and that is why Darndale, as you said, looks like a slum in India. And it's not acceptable. It's 2018. It's not acceptable. And it wouldn't be in Malahide.
Well, that's the point I was making. Just 4 miles up the road, and you're not going to see that filth. If people went and dumped
stuff in Malahide, it would be removed the next morning. You can bet your ass it would be moved the next morning. And CCTV would be used to tackle those people. And I guarantee they'd be up in court, or they would be heavily fined. And that's the thing. Like, that guy is saying, get their reg numbers. The reg numbers are on CCTV in Darndale, but the opinion of Dublin City Council is, well, that's not classed as antisocial behaviour. So what do you want? What will I do with that reg? Who am I going to give it to? Because if the county council don't think it's antisocial behaviour, sure.
All right, well, look, let's hope that they get in there today and clean up all that rubbish. And thanks for highlighting it, Tracy, because it really it's horrible to see. I hate to see it anywhere. And thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you for doing the show.
You're listening to 98FM's Dublin Talks.
98FM, the sound of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks, weekdays from 10 a.m.
with